let us get into this. So, hello, welcome back to the Mind Over Madness podcast, episode 11. We're filming this a day early because we've got some plans for tomorrow, which are still not finalised. And
we have plans.
Yes, I meant to be, but I haven't done a very good job on keeping on top of it, admittedly. Yes. But yes, so I don't know how long today's episode's going to be either. I don't have much to talk about. I'm not too sure about Sean, but we shall see. We'll see where it takes us. But yes, so should we start off how we normally start off?
Yes. As is usual, we'll talk a little bit about lockdown first, then a bit of general news. A bit of a juicy one in that. Then whatever games and films we've been playing or news we've been hearing about. And then some interesting stuff at the end.
Yes, some random topics.
So yeah, first and foremost, lockdown. So obviously in England, tomorrow all pubs and bars can open, and they're calling it Super Saturday.
Oh Christ.
Hairdressers can open, and like personal beauty care, whatever. 2 households can socialise indoors now. So that should be interesting, is it? Basically just like do what you want now.
Fuck it, go back to normal.
I think pubs are not going to be the same as they were, but I don't plan on rushing out to the pub anyway, so I'll let all the alcoholics go and test that out.
Yeah. Check, see if it's safe.
Why they decided to do it on a Saturday and call it a Super Saturday, like they almost were like, everyone go out on this day, let's test the waters. Don't know what the reasoning behind that was. I suppose they'd argue that, if we did it on another day, it wouldn't make any difference.
Although, with that being the case, the fact that they are planning on opening up kind of the pubs and things like that, I kind of find that entertaining considering the news that came out last week about how people were, like, going to pubs and things. But when they were going there, they were kind of like, you had to stay outside, you weren't allowed in the pub, so people were pissing in the street. And getting drunk, and people were fearing for their lives.
What is it about people pissing everywhere in this lockdown? It's just like on beaches and beach huts.
Fucking go home and have a piddle. Or go, if you're at the beach, go in the sea. No one's going to give a shit.
No.
Like, Jesus Christ. I don't know. But yeah, no, that was like something that was briefly reported on last week. Mostly, I think it was around pubs that were kind of opening slightly early, but keeping it so that people were only being served outside in England. So I don't know how Super Saturday is going to go if it was like that a week ago.
I know, but they've been doing takeaway pints, like really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving on from that one, I suppose they've obviously got this quarantine if you enter the country for like 14 days, but they're changing that. So over 50 low-risk countries are allowed to travel to the UK with no quarantine. That's including like Germany and France and stuff.
Yeah. That's always good.
So I suppose that's all right, but like we've not even reached the point where we're enforcing the quarantine anyway. So like, why are they just easing it for 50 countries already? Like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Might as well not have done anything.
I think they're just trying to find shortcuts to be able to open up the country quicker. I think that's all it is. And I think, personally, I think that's a stupid move. I think I've made that abundantly clear over our numerous podcasts. But I think there are certain things. So, okay, I know in Wales now, I think on Tuesday as well is, not Tuesday, Monday, sorry, on the 6th, they are actually planning to allow outdoor bars and pubs and stuff to open as well. And I think it's good that stuff is being pushed to be opened, and most countries are being careful about it and stuff. But there are obviously certain sort of restrictions and lines and things, especially when it comes to coming into the country. I think they're loosening it up a little bit too easy, especially with America and stuff right now.
Yeah,
a lot of
cases are rising.
They've gone up by 50%. Because they're not listening to the rules or the evidence or the science and stuff, and it's like, well, what did you expect to happen?
Their lockdown is very different than what ours was, like even more so than different countries. Obviously, there's been a local lockdown, one of the first in England, the Leicester lockdown. So it's got a kind of like whack-a-mole approach. Just imagine Boris Johnson like, order!
Order! Order!
Back them off. So they're obviously trying to stop an outbreak and avoid the national lockdown.
Yeah.
With that method.
Do you think that's going to work though, or do you think that is just basically like a kind of shitty version of basically, instead of doing a job properly, they're sort of half-arsing it by going, we'll just close one area down, even though by the time we've done that, someone may have already gone to another part. And
yeah, it's one of those things where it seems like a good idea until it arrives on your doorstep. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh no, Manchester's locked down now, or London's locked down.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably just like testing the waters in Leicester, and it's a bit annoying for all the businesses there because they were saying, "Oh, 4th of July, you can reopen again," and obviously now it's you've got to wait for 2 weeks. So I don't know whether people are actually going to follow the rules in Leicester, or they're just going to travel out of Leicester to do whatever they want. Because if I was in Leicester right now, I'd be peeved.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off. But I think this is a grave warning, though, isn't it? Like, isn't this something that Boris should be looking at and being like, okay, well, we've been kind of following a similar route to America, but just slower. But now Americans have gone up by 50% in their infections and stuff, and it's going to be higher than 50%. Anyone that thinks it's going to stop there, you're retarded. But but in all seriousness, with Boris kind of following a very similar path, how he went off with just kind of like England and pushing them to sort of lead the charge in opening up the country. And now, obviously, already Leicester is being like, mate, you've got to calm down for a second because you're looking a bit dodgy there. Is that like an early warning sign, do you think, that he's pushing this way too much and risking way too much by opening up so much so quickly?
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just... Obviously, they should have gone in thick and fast to start with, and they didn't. It was kind of a half-assed voluntary lockdown.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they're doing again now.
I know.
And I am definitely one for wanting to open the country back up and stuff. I want to go out again. I miss going out. Like, I went out, obviously, last Saturday and met up with a friend, got to hang out with him and stuff, which was cool. I can't remember, was it Saturday or Sunday? One of the days.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Look at that. I got the days wrong. But yeah, no, I obviously went out, and it was really cool to go out. But seeing, like I said, people not listening to the rules, and people still pushing their luck, like it's just inevitable. Something is going to re-happen again because people aren't taking this seriously enough.
Yeah, or it's just a case of they're trying to push this message that everything is fine now.
Yeah.
And like they're going to gloss over the numbers and make sure everything appears to be going in the right direction.
I mean, I get why they're doing that, because it's like we want to keep calm, we want to keep everyone confident that we're doing the right thing. That doesn't mean you lie to people. You have to be honest, because at the end of the day, people are only going to listen to what they're told. And that's 99% of people. There are obviously idiots who live in this world as well, but especially with obviously the early signs of, like as you said, like Leicester and things like that, I do think he's pushing it a little bit too much. Personally, this is maybe a little bit biased, but I think Wales are handling it better than most places in the UK, in the sense of that he is opening stuff up, but he's doing it so slowly, so cautiously, that it's like it's avoided any massive like dramatic spikes or anything. Unlike Boris is like, let's open everything.
Yeah, I think Wales has been a bit more cautious in that regards. They've kind of waited for England to make the first move, and they're always a bit kind of last out of Scotland, Ireland and England to make any decisions, which is fair enough. They've got the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, I think that does give us a slight advantage that we have a sensible leader. You guys are stuck with Boris.
Yeah. Sensible and risk-free. But then again, your lockdown will be so it's been stricter and longer. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, according to the government, but not the people. But whatever.
Well, like I've got something planned on Monday, because obviously the lockdown restrictions and stuff have gone up even more. We'll be able to actually go out for a drive, however far we want to go. So me and Al are planning to go out for a road trip, trying to find an abandoned place or stuff. But obviously, we're still very cautious and worried about the fact that we are going to get stopped on the road probably, and police are going to be like, "So where are you going?" So
You
it's, but yeah, I know we won't, but it's still, I think that's the mindset that people should have when they're going out, is like, still act like you're still on edge all the time, because that's how,
that's how you should act.
Safe. Yeah, best way to stay safe and make sure everyone
Just
around.
imagine everyone's already got the virus. Yeah.
Yeah, like, stay away from me, demon. But,
So yeah, there's a few more things. Compulsory to send kids back to school in September. That's what it's going to be. So parents do no longer have an option come September to keep their kids off. They have to send them back, and that's the law now, and they'll face fines if they don't. So,
I think that's reasonable if the area that you're in is sort of like, again, the R is low. If the R is low, absolutely send them back, because again, education has been so affected by this stuff, so it is important. But again, I think it just comes back to that thing of, there are going to be parents that are going to be like, I'm not sending my child back yet. Have you seen the R?
Yeah.
My neighbour coughed. I can't leave the house. It's
yeah. I'm high risk. I've been shielding for months, and I can't send my kid to school, and then they come and bring the virus into my house.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's different circumstances for everyone. I'd say it is safe to. Well, I don't have kids of my own, so I'm not really highest qualified to decide this, but I'd say it's pretty safe to send your kids back, because they're low risk anyway, and I believe they're quite clever. They kind of know the schools will have in place the protocols to keep them safe, and yeah.
I think if everything is set up in a way that it keeps everyone safe, absolutely. I think that's just it, isn't it? It's like common sense. Kids will be kids. You know, a 10-year-old is not going to know I can't hug my friend or stay away from my friend. You know, they're not going to understand why, even with everything that's gone on. They're not going to get the seriousness of it. So that's just a given, that teachers and stuff are going to have more pressure on them. But that's when rules and regulations and things should come into it and help them out, alleviate the pressure off the teachers, as they're stressed enough as it is. You know?
Yeah, they don't need to be the agents of quarantine now.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, on a lighter note.
We'll go on.
Our quizzes have come to an end now. For now.
I know people will be riveting to know this. But we were doing kind of like a little quiz night every Tuesday. It was a lot of fun, but we've decided to put that on hold. So anyone that is obviously part of those quizzes but hasn't been part of them for whatever time, but you watch this, there you go.
You can tell it's a light news week when it's bringing that.
Yeah, when we're bringing shit like that up, you know, it's just been rough, man. This week's been busy. I barely, I think me and you both only got notes just before we did this.
Yeah.
But
it was a day earlier than planned, so it was kind of a bit rushing it to get out. But the last thing that I have, at least for news and sort of everything, is that Boris is actually going to be planning to do daily briefings again live on TV. He is planning on doing daily briefings and press briefings and stuff on TV again. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that idea. I haven't read too much about it. I just kind of read like the first understanding of it, learning kind of why he's doing it and whatnot. And it's kind of to just sort of answer certain questions. I think that's the general gist. But I think it's a bit not pointless. But I would say, then why the fuck did you say the last one you were doing was the last one you were doing? The reason why they stopped them in the first place, I thought, was because they're kind of just repeating the same rubbish over and over, and the press were kind of just making it political issues, constantly talking about things that the public really didn't need to know anything about. And so I thought they were kind of just digging themselves a hole with the last load of them when it came to the final few weeks anyway. So I don't know why they're starting them up again, really, unless they're telling us that's our way of knowing or signalling to us that there's going to be another peak or something.
It's like, you're fucked, so we're just going to do these to keep you safe.
Back on the daily.
I think, Mike, the answers are probably out there. They're probably written in tons of things, articles and stuff. But from my kind of guesswork, I guess, from it would be that it is to do with kind of like how the country's opening back up, to answer questions that maybe people are unsure of, like answers like, oh, well, if we're forced to take kids back, what if this is the thing going on, what if this is happening? I think that's kind of what they're going for, is to kind of answer questions. Although I don't really see how that's going to benefit most people, because most people have a brain. But I think something tells me this is kind of political move as well, to kind of be like, hey, look, we're being transparent. Vote for me, you know. Which I will not be doing.
So is the logic behind it is if they're seen, they're more trusted than if they're not seen and making the policies behind those.
That's kind of my guess, by the way. This is not anything, just to reiterate this, go and research the shit yourself, because I haven't been able to read. Again, this was like a very... me personally, I'm not able to do this tomorrow because we're planning something else, and I'm also going out during the day tomorrow, so I won't be here.
We're a very reliable source of news.
Yes, we'll do our best, but unfortunately this week's been a bit all over the place. But yes.
So that puts an end to the lockdown discussion, I suppose.
Yes.
They're getting quicker every week.
It's because we just can't be asked to talk about it anymore. It's like, not this depression.
So a big event that happened in general news this week is Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of a big milestone in the kind of Jeffrey Epstein saga.
Yeah, that disgusting human.
I know, it's just beyond belief. So obviously she was arrested in New Hampshire in a nice, quaint 160-acre property, living a multimillionaire lifestyle. While the victims are still in pain and suffering.
I don't know how she got away with that shit, but there we are.
I think she bought the house in under an alias and paid cash for it and stuff. But they must have been keeping tabs on her, like the FBI, all this time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They couldn't have got away with it otherwise.
So obviously she'll be brought in for a lot of questioning. If Prince Andrew can't sweat before, he will be sweating now.
Oh, definitely. I hope you're hearing this, Andrew.
I think he's cured.
I hope you're terrified.
Apparently some journalists are saying that she's going to name names. She's not going to hold back to try and get herself a deal.
Yes.
But I don't think she should have a sentence if she is charged. She shouldn't have a suspended sentence just because she speaks. I think the abhorrent crimes. I think she's charged with soliciting minors to Jeffrey, or kind of sometimes interacting with herself, normalizing abuse.
It's disgusting, man. Like, if she doesn't end up in jail for life, I don't know what the fuck you have to do to get in jail for life. Like, it's ridiculous. I get it, she wasn't the person to... Well, no, they can't even say she wasn't doing anything to them, because in the stories, she was.
Yeah, she was one of his high-ranking associates and his girlfriend for a time. So...
Gross.
She shouldn't burp into the mic.
It's disgusting.
Interesting. But yeah, so all these high figures, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, they're all going to be sweating. I think Prince Andrew pushed the narrative that he has volunteered to help on 3 occasions this year. But then the FBI is saying he hasn't helped in any way.
Such a wonderful human. For all the terrible things he did, he's offered help 3 times in 1 year? Wow!
I think the only terrible thing he's done is kind of protecting his friend, going on that weird levers, to end the friendship weekend.
Just a fucking dick. Like him and Trump, they both need to answer certain questions about Epstein still, absolutely. And any other celebrities, there were hundreds. There was loads of people that was affiliated with him. I'm not saying they all did something, not at all. But what I'm saying is if they knew something, they need to speak out about it, because there's still unanswered questions, and this case has been going on for fuck knows how long at this point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And the accusers are very happy about this, obviously, because she's been in hiding for a long time, and finally can get something that she deserves, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
And, bring out some more information about this whole ring or network of, abuse.
It's disgusting that those things are even a thing. Like, that's grim.
It's like the more money you have, the more just control you have, and you can have whatever you want.
It's like how in the documentary on Netflix they were like, he owned the police where he lived and stuff, and it's like, oh, Jesus, how? Don't you become a police officer to enforce the law, not get bribed? Like,
oh, well.
The fuck?
Like when it comes down to it, it's like a business, isn't it? Like money rules, isn't it?
Yeah, sadly.
But yeah, so that is one big event that happened. I actually haven't written down anything else, so do you have anything?
No, literally nothing. It's the thing is, the weird thing, when I looked up news and I was looking up stuff to like kind of talk about and things, I found a couple of things obviously that we're going to talk about in the film stuff, which we'll get to. But yeah, in regards to like actual news and everything, though, a lot of it seems to have just kind of gone back to gossip, kind of normal shit. Like I'm not seeing much about COVID as often anymore. There's still stuff there, of course there is. It's still important for them to be reporting on it, but it's nowhere near the level it was, you know, say 2-3 weeks ago. Like we could literally go on the night before and find just tons of shit to talk about, whereas now it's kind of gone back to normal.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question. What's kind of your take on that? Do you think that it's a good thing that they're kind of gone back to normal and they're kind of trying to make the news a bit more normality, or do you think it's a grave mistake that they're not? They're trying to push out the information on COVID and kind of go, hey, look at celebrities and what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, maybe a bit of a distraction, but I think even the people telling us the news are getting bored of it now.
Yeah.
It's kind of good that they're giving us a little bit of a respite from it, because it has been intense over the past few months, and it is kind of, cases are in general going down. I know they're going up in some places, but like in general, it appears with like the end could be in sight, like as a glimmer of hope. So yeah, it had to come to an end sometime, and they are kind of phasing it out slowly. So yeah, I'm happy about it. I want to hear about different things.
No, fair. Yeah, I think that's.
What about you?
I think it's a good thing, but I just hope that they don't push it out too much. I think that's my only thing. They still need to have a limit and a number of kind of a certain amount of it, but I think they are doing the right thing by cutting it down a lot, because I think people are getting burnt out a lot, and they are kind of like, Jesus Christ, can we just have our lives back? So,
like, you were getting headlines every 5 minutes at the start of this, like you would have just made yourself crazy looking at them all.
Yeah.
So it's important to limit yourself, but then again, inform yourself at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Alright then.
Games.
Gaming. What's been going on, my dude?
Well, Fallout 76 has introduced seasons this week. So obviously they've got their own kind of battle pass, although it's not paid.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That's good stuff.
But,
but it's fuck all in it.
There used to be daily challenges and weekly challenges where you could earn atoms, which was their in-game currency. Now they've replaced them with XP towards this season pass. So you no longer get to choose your rewards, or you get the currency. There are some little bursts of currency in the season pass, but not much, not enough.
Yeah, of course.
Basically, so it's kind of their way of kind of just taking a little bit of currency away from you, whilst giving you this season experience.
I think I saw something
along with loads of other games that are doing it.
I think I saw something on this about Fallout's one, and apparently it's like one of the worst that's ever come out. But
well, it's also free, I suppose.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on it. I haven't I've seen people talk about it or whatever, but I haven't seen kind of what it looks like. I've not gone on Fallout 76 in I don't know how long at this point, but no, I mean, if it's free, you can't really grumble. I think they should allow kind of just whatever you're doing, like if you kill an enemy, that XP goes towards it as well. I hope that's the thing. If it isn't,
no, you've got to do these challenges.
Bethesda, you're fucking stupid. You have been for ages. But I do kind of hope, I guess, maybe it is a good thing. Maybe the challenges and the daily stuff is a good idea. You know, people probably felt quite inclined to do it before because of the atoms, whereas now maybe they'll kind of be like, oh, I'll just play it for a bit of fun. I don't really give a shit about the challenges or the things. I don't know. There's always a silver lining, I guess, but
they're not charging you anything, but at the same time they're taking away that opportunity to get currency that you can buy for real money.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the kicker, isn't it? It's going to be like the amount that you could get from before, just doing the dailies and the weeklies, and kind of the amount of atoms you could get then. How much compared to what you're getting in this free pass? Is it better or worse? I think that's what it's going to come down to.
You could normally get like I'd say about 200, 300 atoms in a week.
Nowhere near as good.
If you did all the challenges, but now you're probably limited down to about 100, if that.
Jesus. Yeah, not great. But you know,
that's just guesstimating. I don't know if people who are long time playing it non-stop, I don't know if they can get more, but
I'll have a look-see in the next week. We'll have to jump.
I mean, it all looks very pretty and Fallout-esque with the like little snakes and ladders style season passes.
Yeah.
It's a whole new UI for it and like a new section in the menu for it. It's like, thanks.
Well, that's
and the Adventures of Pip-Boy.
We'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah.
Have a ganders and maybe talk about it a bit more in depth next week in our experience. But
that's I looked into it. I looked at the challenges, but nah.
It was just like not for me, man.
Did you have any games? I've got one more, but
I've got two things. So I'm still obviously playing through Unity. I'm almost done now. I kind of wanted to talk about it as a game because there are stuff I love and hate about it. And I'll say this much: the story is actually kind of interesting. The story got shit on a lot, I believe, from what I've seen people saying about it in the past. The story was like one of the things that was shat on the most, which I find incredible because I think the story is not amazing. It's nothing out of this world, but it is interesting. I like kind of the side missions, the murder mystery things, the riddle stuff. Like, I like all that. But the gameplay. It's not good. I can't express. There's like this armor set that once you've done all the riddles, you do like certain puzzles and you get the armor set. And one of the puzzles, I think it's the third one, is kind of like you have to hop across all these different things and you have to kind of get across, and it's spraying out gas, so timing is impeccable. The game doesn't work. You literally cannot. You get to like this one and it's like you're on this one, the other one's like slightly lower, so the game can't register you're trying to tell it to go left. It just doesn't. It's broken. I managed to just about do it. I think I nearly broke my controller for the first time in like many years out of frustration, but I did it. But it's just, I don't know, I don't get it. Like, it's fun, but like it's the same thing with the fighting. The moment you have more than 3 people at once, the game breaks. You can't fight. You're not allowed to fight back. I was pressing square. It's not working. Why? Like, it surprises me the game is like, I think it's like something like 6 years old and it's still this broken. Like,
yeah, they tried to like reinvent the wheel with it to get away from that standard formula of Assassin's Creed games. So it's like parry, block, attack, counter.
Trying to encourage you to fight more, which I like. I like that.
Yeah. But I think they kind of overstepped the mark a little bit, making combat a little bit too challenging in some times.
I don't even think it's the fact that it's too challenging. I think it's just broken.
It did have a lot of glitches to start with.
And it's still, like, the amount of cutscenes, his face still disappears. That's still a thing. I'm like, why? I don't get why they just moved straight off it as well and didn't bother to try and fix it.
Yeah.
That's what surprised me. I mean, they could have fixed most of the things wrong with it in, like, a month. Like, Ubisoft have unlimited funds. Also, they've had a lot of accusations and things go on against them. We'll talk about that another time because there's a lot to research and look up. I think like 2 people at Ubisoft have actually been let go because of accusations of like sexual assault and harassment. So I want to do a bit more research before diving into that. I know someone might point that out in the chat while I'm talking about this, so just in case. We will talk about it next week, but I don't have enough right now. But yeah, no, Ubisoft's a good game. Ubisoft's a good game. Unity is a good game. Ubisoft are not a good company, but Unity is a good game. It's just a shame that it's a bit fucked and all over the place. But it set a good precedent for them trying to change it. I admire that. The fact they didn't just keep it the same formula, they actually went, no, let's try and make this slightly different, because Christ almighty, that counter parry. But
I obviously played it when it was my very first game on PlayStation 4, as I've said before, and I think I was a bit like, next generation, it's so cool. So maybe I had a bit of beer goggles when it came to that.
It does look pretty good as well. The game looks pretty and everything. It's put it this way, it's definitely made me excited to play Syndicate, because I know Syndicate kind of takes a lot from Unity as well, from what I've heard. So I am very excited to play that. And Unity's not a bad game, but there are certain things about it that just shouldn't. They're ridiculous. But
yeah, story good.
Overall,
glitches in gameplay.
Game is okay. It's an okay. Buy it on a sale. There you go.
It's very kind of aged at this point in time now. So
Yeah, it's definitely not aged well with the bugs. But yeah, no, it's okay. I'll give it that. What was your next thing? What was your next thing to talk about?
Get ready to roll your eye.
Go on, I'm listening. I won't roll.
Division 2. Raid obviously released this week, but not without its controversy.
Of course, there's always something.
Apparently, a document leaked detailing the mechanics of the raid before it actually came out. So the world's first completion is brought under question. Were they cheating?
Yes.
Who the hell manages to leak a document or put things in the game that you can data mine to get these like mechanics seen?
I know.
How can they let that slip?
I know this one. Massive. Yeah, no, I saw a video on this talking about it and sort of going through the document as well, and it was kind of like I'm just genuinely surprised at how this happened with the limited number of people also working on Division 2 now. Like, how? How do you leak it? And then obviously, as you said, like the world's first had been questioned. I think that's a bit silly. I think it's a hard job to fucking do it anyway. I think it took them like 11.5 to 13 hours, something like that. So I mean, if you can put that many hours into it, and you do it first, you've earned it. You've earned it, mate.
You still play the game, you earned it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I'm so done with the Division 2 that even just hearing like them having more issues kind of just makes me giggle at this point. Because
I know, it's a bit of a joke topic at this point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the game itself is not bad. It's just the idiots behind it that don't know what they're doing. I
mean, at this point, you're just like, whatever the next thing's going to come out is going to be, you just know it's going to be riddled with some kind of controversy or bugs, so it's not going to work properly. But just bring it up as a bit of a laugh now.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's a shame, but I don't think I'm ever going to return to it. Not unless they did something absolutely massively like drastic or change something huge. Yeah, like just they just need to do something different. That game is so fucking old and boring at this point, and it's just their loot is still shit. They don't know what they're doing, and it's like, why play a game I don't have fun with when I can go off and play Unity? Which I equally get stressed at, but at least it's enjoyable, I can give them that. Unity's fun. Division ain't. It ain't fun anymore, man.
Well, Division was fun for the first 20 hours.
Yeah, after that, it's a bit fucking lackluster, to say the least.
Then you're kind of just doing that same 20 hours on loop.
Yeah, man. No, just no.
What was your other game, good sir?
So the final thing was Dead by Daylight. I know we've played a lot of it. I know we're very much having fun with it. I know I've got a fuck ton of footage of it. So I was just going to sort of talk to you about kind of what's... Obviously, you're playing as Ghostface and things.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, I have a topic on the interesting things about our kind of horror villains and stuff. But yes, I play as Ghostface.
Yes, so...
I'm a Ghostface mate.
What's your favourite thing about the game? I thought we'd end the gaming on a nice thing because I kind of saw a few few rough diamonds. So
I think the game, it works. It's quite enjoyable. It's kind of unique, I suppose. There's only kind of a handful of games that are like this because it's Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight. Who doesn't want to be in a horror film with a friend?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when that
plays killer.
Yeah, especially when that friend plays Freddy. But
yeah, all play that goes on when one of these is the killer and the other's trying to escape.
It's always fun.
Nothing like it, is there?
It's always good.
So you obviously play Freddy.
I do. I main Freddy.
Main Freddy. It's an enjoyable game, party game. I would say that's under that kind of genre.
Yeah.
And it's also quite addictive. It's like so similar, but so addictive at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that sort of grips you, and then you're stuck with it for at least a month. At least you're not going to want to stop playing it. I think that's the weird thing with Friday the 13th. I very much enjoyed that game, but because of the same map, kind of very similar maps or same map, one kind of version of a killer, with like number of versions I guess you could use, but they weren't that different. And then this one you can literally play as completely different characters, and it's just more fun. So I'm kind of just waiting for them to bring out a Jason now and be like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, and there's a group of like 5 or 6 of us that play it now, and that because my sister's partner introduced me to it like a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh yeah, it's something I've heard of. It's not one I really wanted to play really that much because I didn't really put the time into it.
Yeah.
But I did give it a go. It's like, okay, so now I'm getting better at all these skill checks and all these things. It's getting better. And then I was like, oh, here we go, another game that I'm going to be playing on my own. But no, now we get too many people wanting to play.
Yeah, and then we can't even get a fucking game going.
I know.
Because someone just keeps disconnecting and the fucking internet doesn't work. You know who you are. You know who we are. You know what you've done. But yeah, no, it is good fun. And surprisingly, I heard about the game like I think at launch. Because when I was with my ex, who I won't name just to be respectful, but when I was with her, she played it a lot, and she was like, "You got to play this game. You got to play this game." I never played it, and now I'm playing it. I'm like, why did I not listen?
Yeah, it helps that they've got licensed killers and things where you can actually live your childhood dreams. Not that many people have childhood dreams to be a serial killer, but...
And also, they've done, I don't know if you would agree, but they've definitely done something with the game that I've never seen another game do. So in the game you kind of have like perks and upgrades and stuff you can have for the characters that you unlock over time. We played it essentially where we were forced not to use them. And it was still just as fun. Like, it didn't... And that's the weird thing. It still feels just as good with or without the perks. Like, it doesn't matter. And with games, that's difficult to do. Like, once you feel powerful and you've got all the perks, like, that's it. You're like, I'm sold on this way of playing. But no. Like, it's fun all the time. It's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything you would like to add on to the Last of Us 2 discussion? And now that it's been like a week or so, had time to simmer.
I kind of stick to my thoughts on it. It's a shame because the gameplay is good.
Yeah.
The story is not bad, but it's just unorganized and a mess. Yeah. And it should. There were so many better ways they could have done it. Like I know Neil Druckmann has now come out and said that. He knew people weren't going to like the story, which just Neil, shut the fuck up.
I know.
You didn't
How
know
great
that.
Is that?
That's great. I'm working on one of the most anticipated games ever to be made in history.
You're not going to like it.
I don't think anyone's going to like it. No, you didn't. You thought you'd get away with it. Don't lie about it. One thing I did find out, which I find to be a really big shame, is Troy Baker, who obviously voices Joel, one of my favourite voice actors, unfortunately is a bit of a arrogant up his own arse kind of personality, which I found out, which is a bit shit, because I didn't think he was like that, but he was like posting like really like philosophical things towards people that were like criticising it, and not even criticising his performance, just criticising the game, and he was being like really bigoted and just up his own arse, and it's like, why?
It just feels like there's kind of just like 5 or 6 A-lister game actors are in every single fucking game you can think of. Yeah,
well, I mean, Christ, him and Nolan North are both in the Avengers games as well.
Yeah.
Like, they're playing Bruce Banner and Iron Man. And I'm like, what?
So they're like the Hollywood A-listers of the game world, so I think they probably let that celebrity status get to their head a little bit in today's climate.
It's a shame, man, because they are... Well, Nolan's fine as far as I know, but Troy, really talented voice actor, and yet he's... So got such an ego apparently, which I guess is fair. You're gonna have an ego if you're in that position, but don't let it fucking get in the way of people being able to criticize things. Not even his work, just the fucking game.
Yeah, they should kind of stay out of that thing. Let it be everyone's personal opinions and Like, so if people are like bullying or something or putting hate on their feeds and stuff, then that's not right. But yeah. No need to be a dick about it.
That's not okay. If you're sending abuse to people, fuck you. But if you're just criticising a game, there's nothing wrong with that. But yes,
that brings an end to the game discussion, I believe.
It does indeed. So now we are on to movies and Netflix.
Movies.
Yeah. Anything?
I started watching a film on Netflix called Apostle.
Ooh, cool.
It's kind of earlier early 20th century film with all that kind of style. Lots of like dimly lit lanterns and huts and things.
Yeah.
And horse-drawn carriages. It's about a man who finds out his sister's held hostage by a religious cult, and he goes to save her. And yes, all kinds of weird things happen in there.
Okay.
But I haven't actually finished the film because I kept turning it off.
Was it that great that you just had to be? I have to drag this on.
It's like a UK produced film, so yeah, it's all right. I just need to kind of get into it. You need to be in that zone to like watch something like this.
I get you.
But yeah, that's the only film I've attempted to watch this week. I tried.
I think I watched a documentary again. I watched it for like the second time, which was the documentary on Netflix called "Don't Fuck with Cats." That incredible arrogance from the police force.
Chills down my spine.
Yeah, the guy is disgusting. I'm so glad he got arrested. The mother. Oh, what the fuck is wrong with her? Like, my son's innocent. Fuck off.
Like crazy.
He's not innocent. There was a video of him doing it. Like, and then what shocked me more is when the police knocked on her door for the first time. She was like, "Oh, you hear about the cat videos? You were nunny? You knew? Like, what kind of fucking sick asshole are you? Like," and she's like, "My son is a lovely human being."
Yeah. What you did to that this makes me sick.
Yeah, it's a fact. I do advise people to watch the documentary because it is incredible what these just everyday people who wanted to try and find out who did these despicable videos to these innocent, defenseless animals, and they actually find them and stuff. But you also get to see the side of the police and how ignorant they are, and how up their own arse they are because they don't want to listen to people on the internet. They all think they're crazy, and it's like, well, you literally. And something escalates. I won't spoil too much, but something escalates and something dreadful happened because they didn't listen. And it's just a fascinating way of seeing another side of a story that you probably never would have seen if it wasn't for that. I think the documentary is like 5 years old now, but it still holds up today. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing the detective work they managed to pull off with like no resources, just a laptop and
mad.
Communicating among themselves, and they're really getting into it and really trying to help.
Yeah,
but
which is incredible.
Then again, the police can't take everything that people throw at them.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, of course not. But
so,
these people were throwing evidence at them,
I know.
and they were like, "No, we don't listen to internet sleuths." Although I think it is slightly different now.
The guy perpetrating these crimes just loved all the attention.
Oh, that guy! I just wish he was like. I can't say it because it's just wrong. I'll tell you after the show. But Jesus, I just don't like him.
He should be punished.
Oh, so many ways. Right, there's two news stories that I actually came across as well, which I thought we could talk about in the movie section. So the first one was actually the fact that there is a sequel to Scott Pilgrim in the works. I don't know if you've ever heard of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, isn't it?
Yeah. Apparently, it's being discussed as they speak. That was quoted from the actual. I think it was the director Edgar Wright, who also obviously worked with like Shaun of the Dead and stuff, which is I love him as a director. He's brilliant. Obviously, it was 10 years ago since the last one was released, so the fact that they are discussing a possible exploration into a sequel is quite cool. Kind of wanted to know your thoughts on it. Do you think it's a good idea, or do you think they might be... I don't know, because they're obviously going to have to change the cast, right? It's not going to be the same people, so, I mean, what do you...
I think it's one of those things, no one really asks for it, but I suppose I'm excited for it. The first one was good. It's based off comics and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose they've got some material to kind of base it off, and I think Edgar Wright's a fairly competent director. He'll be able to sort something out with that.
Very, very talented director as well.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
No, I'm excited for that. And the second piece of movie news that I randomly came across was that Ben Affleck has supposedly, there is no physical actual evidence of this. I actually read this article just to make sure. But he's meant to be actually reprising his role as Batman. He's apparently signed a contract that means he's going to be on the HBO Max show for it. So he'll be coming back as Batman.
Yay!
If oh, you're so happy. I'm excited for that, man. I liked his version of Batman. It was the same with the fucking Joker, like Jared Leto's Joker. It's like, oh, it's so bad. It's like, you don't even know the backstory because they fucked it up. Like, there's so much more to it. I mean, it didn't make sense, and Batman was killing people, which completely against Batman. But I'm excited if they do a good job. Correct, 10 out of 10.
It seemed like the DC Batman and Superman recently kind of sucked the joy out of them a little bit and kind of made them all bleak, dark anti-heroes. And I don't know. I want me Batman back. I think
the problem with DC compared to Marvel is the fact that DC is naturally darker. It's not meant for kids. Like, the idea when DC first came around was it was meant to be a darker universe. So just make it 15 and 18 rated films. You'll make more money off it. They are comic books, yes, absolutely. But look at the material. It is not designed to be kept and suppressed in like a PG-13 kind of fucking box. It's designed to be let loose and go fucking mental. I mean, the Joker, for instance, it's just one of many of Batman's. Like, you've got Scarecrow, Bane, all these different characters that literally do not fit into a teenage universe.
I know.
You know, they're designed to be fucking lunatics.
Yeah, they end up with a conundrum of like an adult villain trapped in a film for like teenagers and younger kids as well. And I don't know. They need to really go the whole hog and make the villains scary again.
Yeah. And
the heroes slightly more heroic.
Yeah. The strange thing about it is apparently this announcement is meant to be happening before September, but they're apparently going to get the official announcement on the Snyderverse. Batman is going to be returning. So the idea is that obviously the Snyder cut that's coming out for Justice League, which apparently is going to be around 4 hours long, which is fucking insane. Apparently that's when they're planning on bringing him back in and kind of reworking it a bit.
Okay.
But they aren't just bringing him back, apparently they, quote, are bringing everybody back.
So Wonder Woman, Aquaman.
Yeah, everyone. Now, I think Jason Momoa's Aquaman really worked. I think he plays that role very, very, very well. Not so stoked about Cyborg and Flash. Those two are not great.
No.
I think Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is fantastic. It's incredible. She was like the best part about that universe in my mind. Henry Cavill as Superman, I was never really into Superman anyway, so I couldn't give a shit who plays him. Just he's there. I don't care. But
I don't like heroes that are too powerful.
No, Wonder Woman is just perfect. But then you've got fucking Captain Marvel. Just
It's like, no. Swinging to save the day. Yeah.
Oh fuck! Actually, that's something that we're going to talk about quickly because technically YouTube classes as movies and TV and shit. Brie Larson having her own YouTube channel. Thoughts?
That's news to me. I imagine she'd be subject to the trolling.
Yeah, I say a bit. I hope it's a lot. No, I don't advocate going after people and targeting them at all. Don't do it. It's not okay. Don't go and attack people. Do you understand me? Don't go and do the thing I'm not telling you to go and not do. 10 out of 10. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing how she fucks that up too.
What exactly can she? So obviously, career's not going well if you're doing a YouTube channel.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of celebrities are now posting over onto YouTube, and they're kind of thinking, "Ooh, it's a way to get lots of money." Like all these YouTube stars with loads of money. It's like that isn't how this works, and you are not ready for the backlash that might come at you. Like, you thought being in films was bad. Fuck, just wait.
Yeah, I know the guy who played Connor in Detroit Become Human. He plays that game like on a loop, like 12 times in a month or something, just because people like to watch him play himself in the game. Yeah. So he must be making tons of money from that.
Yeah. He must be getting so bored of that game.
Oh god, no. And he's trying to like keep it fresh, like, oh yeah, I don't know what happens. Yeah, you do. Not only have you played it 1,200 times, but you've also starred in it, and you probably know well done.
Yeah, you know every ending, literally.
People just love it.
Yeah.
Because obviously he looks like exactly like his character on screen, so that's kind of unique. I know a few Last of Us 2. I know Dina, the actress who plays her, she plays it on YouTube. I think this must be kind of a new thing now, that the people in the media will play their own their own games.
I think it's clever advertising. I mean, it works for that sort of sense of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I think a lot of celebrities that are in kind of like films and TV don't understand that when you come onto YouTube, if you don't like something, about 20 million people also are going to disagree with you. And about a tenth of those people are going to express their feelings in ways that are just not okay. Like, because they are just evil. And I think a lot of people just aren't prepared for that. I know Will Smith had a YouTube channel, I think he's still doing it. But he got a lot of flack for being in Rewind. So, I mean, you can only imagine the kind of shit that Brie Larson's going to get with, kind of her beliefs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Turn those comments off, I think.
Yeah, maybe a little. Although there are obviously people out there, hundreds of thousands, that obviously support what she's doing. So maybe it'll work for her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish her luck in her endeavours, even though she'll never know who I am.
Turns out she's watching this.
Oh, that would be creepy. Why are you watching this? That's never
going to get a nod from Captain Marvel.
Ugh, that's the worst one to get a nod from. Right. Okay, on to the last thing, which is if you've made it this far in the podcast, thank you very much for making this far. At this point, we just talk about random topics that we've come across or stuff that people have asked us to talk about. And this time, the first thing I've got to talk about is cancel culture and kind of your views on it. So the idea of someone being completely cut out or cancelled from YouTube or TV shows or movies or whatever, just because of something they've done that others don't like or anything like that. What's kind of your opinion on cancel culture?
What, like things that they posted on social media and stuff?
Yeah, or past stuff or anything like that.
Well, people... I think you'd agree that people change over time, of mature, and things that you posted 5 years ago are not not representative of your views as a person, at the moment. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
So I don't think you shouldn't be kind of targeted based on something you said years ago. I believe they should admit to them, but not just keep on going on about it and cancelling them from everything. That's just not the way to go about it, because, I mean, they're so woke, this generation, that you don't know what's going on and what you're going to be targeted for next, and, what other minority is going to be offended by everyone else. Yeah.
I mean, cancel culture is fucking everywhere now, man. Like, PewDiePie has been cancelled. I mean, Christ, he's still doing great, though, for the fact that he was cancelled. Like, cancel culture doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's just an aggressive way of being like, I don't like this thing, listen to me, get rid of it. And it's
people at the top trying to censor the people at the bottom.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think there's just 4 steps to you don't need cancel culture. It's just the 4 steps: acknowledging what they did, talking about it, and explaining why it was wrong or whatever, apologize and move on.
Yeah.
Like, it's as simple as that. If someone goes, no, I still believe in those homophobic things that I said, then it's like, yeah, you're a scumbag. You should piss off. But if they talk about it, and I think one of the most prevalent ones that I can think of is Kevin Hart. Like, he made a number of homophobic jokes, stood by the fact that he wasn't going to apologise for it, didn't even get to host the Oscars because of it. But
Ricky Gervais does manage to.
Oh, I love him just hosting. It's brilliant. But then Kevin finally apologised because he understood it wasn't just about apologising for doing those tweets. It was acknowledging what had happened to that community that he had made those jokes about. And it's the same with anything, but people instead it's just happened to The Last of Us 2. People are like, boycott The Last of Us, Naughty Dog suck. No matter how loud you scream, they've still made millions off this game.
Yeah, and they don't,
They don't care what you think. It's as simple as that, and that's the thing of it. It's just kind of people review bombing shit or anything like that. Like, cancel culture just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
If someone does something wrong, or they do something I don't like, I just simply don't watch or play their content. There you go. It's very easy. It's not hard. I can't understand how someone could waste their life being like, I'm going to dedicate my next 2 months into calling this person a prick. It just
there's whole like YouTube channels that dedicate themselves to just putting other people down constantly, like throwing other YouTubers under the bus as that is their main occupation.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's just like bad apples.
Bad apples in the nest. So yeah, I think we can both safely agree cancel culture sucks and it shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Ta-da! There you go. That's
and it doesn't work, and the people who've been cancelled probably get more attention from it.
Yeah, do you know what? Ironically, that probably is the biggest thing about it. Is that the people who supposedly get cancelled,
it's almost a badge of honour.
Getting bigger, you know. I know, it's incredible to me that that's still a thing. But there we are.
So a little bit of a different one, I guess. Relating to films, I just wanted to ask what our favourite horror film villains are and why.
Ooh, tricky.
So I guess I will start. Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, hang on.
Hang on.
What's your favourite story?
Oh, brilliant! I love it. Just a little pun, just to.
So yes, my favourite is Ghostface from Scream.
You don't say.
I've loved Scream ever since I first watched it, like years ago. I think it just turned the formula on its head. It's very self-aware. It's kind of goofy, but not too parody.
Yeah.
All 4 films have a sense of cohesion. It's the same director as Wes Craven, the same trio of cast members. It's got Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette in all 4 of them. I believe that's a quadrilogy. It's the same composer for all of them. They've all kind of got a unique spin on the horror film genre, which is what I love for some reason. And yeah, Ghostface is very iconic as a killer. The very first scene of Scream, I think Robin was messaging me the other day, not to name names, but about what to watch, and she's like, oh, shall I watch all the Scream films? And then she's like, I found this TV series that's Scream. Like, the TV series is not made by the same people.
No.
It's not quite the same. I said it's okay. I'd say about 4 or 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same iconic things that the films has, such as the mask. The mask is different in the TV series. The weapon is, the voice is, that he doesn't use the phone call, which is iconic. He uses text.
Yeah.
And
modernise it.
So yeah.
No, yeah, Scream is
I love the Scream films.
Good. Scream is extremely good. It's very fun. It's very enjoyable. It's not so unbelievable as well. I think that's what makes it quite scary at the same time as being, you know, quite horrific. It's a more realistic, grounded kind of version of horror than most things. I mean, I know my two favourites. I can't pick between them. It's impossible. I love them both for different reasons, but my 2 favourites are very, very unrealistic more than anything. So.
Yeah.
For instance, my first favourite one is Saw. John Kramer, the Jigsaw for anyone that doesn't know. The first film is the best one out of them all, by the way. After that, they kind of just become more like into the gore and stuff. But the first one is excellent. Very well thought out, very clever, very well done. And for those who don't know, also has James Wan, the guy that works on like the Conjuring films and everything. He did that film and wrote it and everything. It was like his first sort of step into horror. It was really good. I love him. I think he's very, very clever and manipulative of how he changes stuff. But my one just slightly a smidge higher. And I got to meet the guy and I was so happy. Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger. I love Krueger. Just everything about that kind of horror to me is just fantastic. It's funny, ridiculous, but also it's so terrifying. Imagine having a dream that you can't wake up of, but anything that happens in the dream is happening to your body.
Yeah.
There are many people that can think of that and think of it in a very, very lovely way.
Well, he's a supernatural killer, isn't he? And but at the same time, it's grounded in reality in the fact that we all have dreams and nightmares.
Yes.
And, he epitomizes everyone's nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most realistic part about it as well is the fact that Kruger as a character never started off as an evil guy. You know, he was just accused of being something he wasn't and killed for it. And then, you know, I know people that have seen the remake and they'll be like, yeah, but he was. No, he wasn't. Watch the originals.
Yeah.
And it just works, man. You know, it works really, really well. And it's a shame about the reboot because it had potential, but there we are. No, it is a very, very good franchise. And Kruger himself is just a very interesting character as well. And I think he's very lovable as well as being terrifying. I think that's why people like him so much. It's the same, I think, very similar with Scream. You know, anyone that takes on that killer role is very comedic and very charming and has that way of just describing things and acting in a certain way. Like, what's your favourite scary movie? It's immediately just a line you know, and you smile when you hear it. So it's the same with Kruger. If you list the many things he has said, you know. Yeah, definitely. Those two.
Yeah, something about having a villain which you can also relate to and like as well. It's just like
likable.
It's interesting. But you don't condone what they're doing, but you're like, I want to see more.
No, of course not. I don't think you could do a lot of what Kruger has done, but do not copy Scream. Just watch the films, enjoy them, they're great, just don't copy it.
Yeah, it's interesting that Ghostface isn't one particular character, unlike Freddy. Like, he can be multiple different people, but I think as soon as they put on the mask, they kind of don the Ghostface persona, which is interesting in the films.
Yeah, it makes it scarier.
Yeah, and I was watching a load of really crappy like Ghostface versus Leatherface, you know, on YouTube fan-made films. It's like, oh yeah, he wouldn't really compete with things like that, but just the fact that he can be anyone.
Yeah, literally.
Kind of the master of stealth, and he's got the interesting mask. I did have a painting of the thing that the mask is based off.
Oh, go on. I'm interested to see this.
How do I do this now? Okay, so that is painting
the famous
by Edvard Munch. He's a Norwegian artist, and that is what the mask is actually based off.
Yeah. It's a scary fucking picture. I've seen that photo. That thing is so famous now.
I know, it's so famous, and you see it in quite a few places, but yeah.
It is a very uncomfortable feeling while I'm looking at it, I'm not gonna lie.
I just thought I'd put that up there so you don't have to edit it in.
Yeah, just I'll put a picture of Kruger next to Sean's face, because then it's me, Sean, and then Kruger.
And Ghosty.
And Ghosty, Ghosty can be somewhere too. But yeah, no, definitely the very quick answers.
But yeah, so why do you think people enjoy horror films? Like, why do you think people enjoy being scared?
I think it's the endorphin rush, I think, that goes with it. I think people that like horror... I mean, unfortunately, I've watched so much fucking horror at this point, and I've played so many horror things, that I very rarely get scared of things anymore. When
me too.
It takes... and cheap jump scares, I can't stand them anymore. Like, I used to be fine with them, now I hate them. But I think what it's about is like that little essence of just not knowing what's going to happen. So you have that like huge build up, you know, you get butterflies in your stomach, your brain's pounding, you're like, what the, just get the fuck on with it, and then just boom, and it hits you, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. I think it takes that. For me personally, my favourite kind of horror is psychological horror. So slow building, not physically like a jump scare or anything, but just the realisation of something, or something very realistic that could happen. That's what scares me more than anything. I think with something like Freddy Krueger and kind of Scream, I find them quite... people are going to think I'm a sadist, but I find them very amusing to watch, and I find them more like comedies than I do horror.
Well, yeah, I'd say they come under dark comedy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think... I don't know. I think it's unique to every person. I think with horror. But definitely, I would have something to say about this. The endorphin rush that just happens, where it's like you see the person trying to run away for the killer, and you're rooting for that person to get away. Like, fucking just Jesus, run!
It feels like there's like two ends of the spectrum. Like there's fear and excitement. I think they kind of like link together.
Yeah, definitely.
So people kind of get excited by being scared.
Yeah,
Not
that's
like in life or death situations in real life, but
yeah, I'd rather. I'm good just sticking in my room.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't need to actually be in these positions. But
yeah. Very different in real life, I think, but people enjoy that kind of rush of seeing them. That's why there's so many similar ones, but I mean, it's that rinse and repeat formula of horror films. That's why I like Scream, so it's kind of turned it on its head a little bit.
It is very good. Very good.
But yeah, all these kind of horror films have kind of very basic theme, like that rooted in everyone's minds, like, you know, Ghostface, it's Stalker, like Freddy's, like it's the nightmares, and
Jason is just kind of the haunting of something that you did.
Yeah. This kind of supernatural, undefeatable being that just is there.
You can never, the idea of not being able to get away, it's literally impossible to survive kind of thing, you know.
Yeah. Leatherface, it's like cannibal.
It's very interesting how both of my favourites are like polar opposites. Like one's an impossibility, and the other one, technically, if you look at it in a certain way, he's not a complete villain. He's just fascinated by the idea of people wasting their lives because he got cancer. So his body could fight off, you know, having a car fall off a cliff and him being in such a dangerous accident he should have died. Yeah, he lived. His body could survive that, but it couldn't survive cancer. So it was like that fascination of wanting to learn how far people were willing to go to survive, through all the stuff they did that was bad and wrong. Obviously, as the films go on, more stuff happens. I won't spoil anything because it is a pretty good series. Go and watch it. But with Freddy Krueger, it's something just genuinely based off your own fears and your horror. Like, what's your worst nightmare? And then that's what you're stuck in. Like, and then obviously with Scream, it's like, as you said, the stalker, and then with Jason, it's the supernatural being, and
I suppose Saw is more like the fear of being trapped, I suppose. Like trapped in a game.
I think stuff like Paranormal Activity, I think, is very much to kind of go off something that maybe is very divisive because people don't believe in ghosts, and then they do. I think something like Paranormal Activity, you're not going to get scared by it if you don't believe in ghosts. It's as simple as that, because there's nothing to be afraid of. It's like, well, it's not real, so why do I need to worry? But people who do believe in it are suddenly watching it going, honey, did you lock the front door? Why is the door opening?
Yeah, it's the same thing as if you get the start of a film based on true events, it automatically makes it more scary. You know?
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like the Paranormal Activity series, that's kind of shallow for me, but it is. They do have some good jump scares in there. I'll give them that.
I think they got a lot worse as they went on. The first two were good, and then after that, it's no, too many.
But yeah, that was just a little horror film segment, which was quite enjoyable.
It was a good one. I like that one. That was an interesting
one. A bit of role play.
Keep an eye out on the channel for more Dead by Daylight stuff. There's a lot of good stuff coming out soon for that, so it's going to be everywhere. Freddy's here. But
if you want to listen to Jay in his role play and hatingness,
it's hilarious when we all play that game, and I'm just pretending. I don't know. It's just enjoyable, man. It's the only time I've genuinely had fun in a game and just fucked around for a very long time.
Living the dream.
Living the life.
Living the dream world.
Okay. God, I don't know what to debate, man. There's so much that we could debate, and then there's just stuff that I think is ridiculous. So if we were to debate it, I'd immediately dismiss it. Okay, here's a random fucking topic. It completely random. Bottled water should be banned. And now I'm assuming the premise of this is the reason that bottled water should be banned is you can get out of a tap, don't be a lazy twat, and save the environment by less plastic. That's the thing I'm getting from it.
Right.
I still think it's fucking ridiculous.
Like, some places they have to have bottled water because the tap water isn't safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose we could move it on to a bit like the recycling, the plastic use and stuff. Like, do you think that could be reduced, and like the plastic in our oceans, like it's so harming for the wildlife and stuff like that?
I do think people need to. I think if people are recycling, that's great, whatever. But I think we need to find a way to stop using so much plastic. Jesus Christ, it's everywhere.
whenever you go to the supermarket, you're buying things, and some of the plastic things can be recycled, some of them can't. Like the cellophane wrapping, you can't recycle that. And during this whole lockdown period, our recycling truck just hasn't been operating, so we're gonna have to put everything in the normal waste anyway. And so, like, all right, so that doesn't take priority anymore.
Yeah.
You know, all right, we've got this whole pandemic, but, you know, fuck the planet.
Yeah, it's just like, now forget about one issue, we've got another one to deal with here.
Yeah. This one's most important at the moment.
Oh, Christ. It's such a tricky one, because obviously you've got people like Greta Thunberg and many others who I can't name, because I'll be honest, I don't know, that are talking about the planet and are very passionate about it and wanting it to get better. But the problem that there is that I feel like a lot of people are doing a lot to recycle and things like that, but there's so many rules against certain things. For instance, I think it's black plastic.
Yeah.
That can't be recycled. Why?
Yeah.
Why? It's plastic. Oh, the colour. Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously? Like, it's... I don't get it. And then you've got, like, hard plastic is not allowed to be recycled in some areas. Why? It's plastic. Well, it's hard plastic.
And there's no kind of uniform code. Everyone's got different bins and different times and different slots and different things to be recycled.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I don't know. It's such a messy fucking system right now.
There's a funny one, like, we have a garden waste bin, and I think either me or my mum put like a dog turd in there. It's like, and then, like, the bin man wrote on our bin, "Do not put dog waste in this bin." I'm like, what? That's garden waste, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing though. If we want a garden waste bag down in Wales and stuff, we have to ask for it.
Yeah, we have to pay for ours.
It's not just compulsory. We have to ask for it, and I'm assuming that is probably the same. We'll probably have to pay to have one if we want one. But I find that incredible. Like, you have to pay us if you want to recycle and help the planet. What? Why? That makes no sense.
Garden waste, but no dog turds, please.
Oh, that's it.
But, you know, horses are allowed to shit anywhere they want.
Oh my goodness.
That's a different debate.
I think recycling is such a weird topic to talk about, because I think everyone can agree it's a good thing. Yeah. But it's just the execution of it is so different everywhere all over the world that it's just impossible to keep on top of it. I think it's just something we're never going to be able to keep on top of unless, like, laws change and stuff, and it's like, well, you can't use plastic for this kind of thing anymore. You can't use tin for this kind of thing anymore. You know, and they kind of separate certain things from it. So instead of bottled water in, like, a plastic bottle, they're like, have a reusable cup that you can use constantly all the time. You know, people could do that now, but let's face it, people are too fucking lazy. I think I use where is it? It's right here. I use this a big empty thing of tropical juice water. That's
good for recycling.
That's 2 litres, but I emptied it, and now I just use it to fill my water. So I have 2 litres of water all the time on me everywhere I go. It's like, you could do something as simple as that, but people are like, but I really like Coca-Cola. Or I really like tropical juice. So it's like, I think it just comes down to lifestyle, and some people aren't going to do it.
I know. We saw, like we were talking about the other week, the amount of litter people leave at beaches and stuff.
Why?
So people's attitudes need to change about it as well. Like,
do you know what it is?
We don't care.
The exact thing of it is, it's not affecting me right now, so why do I care? And then the moment it affects them, and let's say the planet's fucked, by the way, we've polluted it so much now, we've got to move to Uranus. Like, they'll be like, oh, well, it wasn't my fault. I didn't. No, it's all of our faults. Regardless, we all should have done more. And it's, people are not taking it seriously enough. And then, like, if you literally type it in, there's so much evidence and facts, and there's so much information to learn about it. Granted, there was a fuck ton, so no one knows everything. But you can educate yourself enough to be like, oh, now I see why it's so important to do it. Now I see why it's so important just to have a bottle of, like, if I want a bottle of water, keep one bottle and just keep filling it with tap water, And I know that can't happen everywhere. I get that. But then that's why, if you can do it where you are, it's so important that you should be doing it. Because it just saves so many fucking, not only animals and stuff, but human lives. You know, humans could end up going swimming and swallow whatever the hell is in the water. That sounds dreadful.
And I hear things about all these microplastics that are in everything that we have. We consume millions of these like little bits of plastic, like every day, like in tea bags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's all going into our food, and like that's only going to increase with the amount of pollution put in the earth.
Yeah.
So that can't be good for us. That's going to cause all sorts of health problems in the future, I think.
Yeah. I think the problem is like, again, I think our generation, kind of like the under 30s, early 20s kind of thing. I think our generation is like, and yourself, Sean, don't worry.
This early 20s.
Yeah, you're still part of this generation. Okay, there's not that many years. There's not that many years. People are going to be like, people who don't know us now are going to be like, oh, their age is different.
James was older.
There you go. There's a question. Who do you think's older? But yeah, no. I think this generation is kind of the most aware of it. I won't say woke. I fucking hate that word.
Oh.
The most aware of it and the most sensible with it, as we are with many different things. You know, not just recycling. There's human rights and obviously the Black Lives Matter movement. All of that stuff we've discussed before, but with recycling, again, I think it's something that we are the most aware of, and we're kind of like, hey guys, when you fuck off and die, we've still got to live here. Can we not fuck the planet up, please? So, yeah, I think there's a lot of new stuff coming out every day with it. Whether or not it'll be stuck with or anything will change, unlikely. But it'd be nice to see if something did improve with it, you know?
There needs to be a massive push of like renewable energy sources, like instead of coal and oil and stuff. So yeah, nuclear power.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Anyway, I suppose that's a different bloody topic.
Yes. Renewable energy.
What else you got? Hit me.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Here's an interesting one. All right. This is actually an interesting topic. So juveniles should be tried and treated as adults in a court of law, depending on the crime.
I suppose what are we classing as juvenile? Under 18?
Yeah. Under 18s, obviously. Now, for anyone who isn't aware of the legal system in that sense, say a 12-year-old got caught thieving, they're probably given a warning. Say they're caught again, they end up in juvenile hall or wherever. You know, they go through the juvenile process. So essentially, they're not tried as adults. I know there have been a few cases, the Slender Man case, for instance, where two young girls stabbed their friend to death because they thought, we want to go to Slender Man's mansion. Fucking ridiculous. But they ended up not killing. I don't believe they killed their friend, but they did stab her and attempted murder and that kind of thing. And they got tried as adults. They were tried as adults and sentenced as adults. It's very rare that this happens. But do you think that regardless of age, you should be tried as an adult if you have committed a crime?
Yeah, well, I think...
Or do you think there's like a line? Like there's certain ones that you should be tried as an adult? Or certain
things
ones
like theft and stuff, that should be different if you're a minor. But murder and stuff like that, because obviously in this country there was the James Bulger kind of case, where the two 10-year-olds murdered a 3-4-year-old, can't remember exactly.
That's so sad.
And they've obviously grown up to be repeat offenders. So it's kind of interesting how if someone is capable at a very young age of taking another life, what they're going to turn into when they're older. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think if
so if it's murder, I believe they should get harsher sentences for minors and really kind of figure out if they're going to re-offend in the future.
I think this is kind of my thinking of it. I think if with assault, I believe there's three degrees of assault. I think the two highest degrees of assault and anything above that, so attempted murder, you know, whatever in that sense, you should be trialed as an adult. There's no question of it. He's 12. He tried to kill you. You don't think he's a fucking lunatic? Either that or your parenting is shit. Can I just say? You have clearly not taught your child right from wrong. But I do think that if a child has committed a murder or attempted murder or anything like that.
With intent.
Yeah, with intent. And understanding. I think
Not like, hey mummy, I found a gun.
yeah. I think it's tricky because obviously, especially with juveniles, it's difficult to be able to tell if a juvenile actually knows the difference between right and wrong, especially when you're growing up. You've learned so much in such a short space of time that it can become a lot. But I do think that it's fairly obvious a child is going to know the difference between murder and not murder. So, yeah, no, if they've committed a murder or attempted murder, absolutely try them as adults. I don't know if you could throw them in an adult prison.
No.
What I would say is that's when they go to like a juvenile hall until they're 18, and then they get transferred to a prison. But obviously, I think for stuff like petty theft, for instance, like stealing a chocolate bar, no, you shouldn't be.
That's a slap on the wrist.
That's like you get like one slap on the
Yeah.
wrist, and then after that, if you do it again, it's like, right, you're going to get fined, or your parents are going to get fined, or whatever. You know, you'll have a criminal record, but you'll have a juvenile record instead of a crime.
Was the Cadbury chocolate worth it?
Was it worth it to taste that monster?
Life away for life.
That monster has literally just given you 2 hours of energy, and you stole it. Is it worth it? You know. But yeah, no, I think there are certain laws and rules that probably should be changed. I'm not fully aware of like laws and rules still. There are certain things I don't know about, but I would absolutely say that.
Yeah, it's a grey area when it comes to serious crimes for under 18-year-olds.
Absolutely.
Nobody really knows what to do with them.
And it shouldn't be. I'm like, as I said, if they've committed a serious offence, it's juvenile hall till they're 18, and then fuck off to prison, and you get to live with the scumbags that can't stick to the rules of normal civilization. So yeah, I don't know if that's where you would agree.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Like,
Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
yeah.
Right. Okay, my final one for today. It's just popped into my head, so we're going to go with this. And this is my final one. And if you've got one, great, we'll go with it. If not, we'll end it. But
No, this will be the last one.
ooh, okay, shorter one
Make it a
today.
good one.
That's fine. So, on the subject of the drugs epidemic and stuff like that, do you think that in the UK, certain drugs should be legalised? If so, what drugs and why? Out of curiosity.
What, like cannabis?
Yeah. I think to be honest, the only one I would legalise personally myself is marijuana, and just for discrepancy's sake and being open and honest, I have participated in the Devil's Lettuce, and it is quite enjoyable. But I haven't touched it in a very long time because I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Go on.
Well, for medical purposes, I know people with, I can't remember the disease, but it's like shaken neural disorders. That can really help them, live a normal life. I mean, you've seen the evidence of the before and after of certain conditions, and this can be a medical thing as long as they're not like making them high every day.
Yeah.
I believe it can be repurposed to have some kind of good effects, because I mean, alcohol is widely available in the country. That's a drug. And that's everyone has access to that after the age of 18, and pubs are opening before gyms. That's how high up alcohol is on the agenda. People need alcohol as an escapism route.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe if we can have alcohol to suppress things, make a medical use for some of these drugs.
I think my personal take on it is that, especially with marijuana, Mary Jane, I think it's okay for recreational use, but here's the thing that needs to be absolutely stated: is if it should be legalized in this country so that they could sell it and make tax money and whatever off it. I do think that's a good idea. However, I think it should be extremely regulated. So you can only buy so much in a week. You're only allowed to have so much in a week. You have to have a medical, like sort of mental health test before you start having it, because if you're not in a good mind space, it's not a good idea to touch that shit, because it will make you worse. And this is coming from someone that has smoked it. You know, you will get worse if you have a shitty mind space. I think if you're in a healthy mind space and you're in a good headspace and a good mindset, I think you'll have more understanding, more control, kind of better sort of judgment on it. I think if you're in a bad mind space, you're obviously going to want a escape. You're not going to want to live in the real world, and that's when it becomes dangerous. So that would be kind of my thing. I think regulate it, make a bit of money off it with tax, but make sure it is heavily regulated, and make sure the people that are buying it are only buying a set amount a week, and also are only allowed to have it after they've had a mental health test and they're okay. You know, they're okay, they're cleared to have it, and they won't have any serious effects from having it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like legalising it for recreational use is kind of just opening up a can of worms, especially in this country. People don't know how to take it.
Yeah, limits. They don't know limits.
Then again, it's like alcohol's available, so I don't know anymore.
It's a tricky one. I mean, I do see the cons from definitely making it legal. I think there are a lot of bad things that come with it as well. I mean, granted, yes, okay, it would lower crime and everything, but I think what I've just described is basically utopian. I don't think it would ever happen. It'd be impossible to regulate everyone that's buying it, and it'd be impossible.
Our towns and cities would stink as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, it would reek. So yeah, I think it's a very double-edged sword. I think there are good things about it. Definitely, as you said, for medical use, absolutely. If it can help the person. I think for recreational use, there's still a lot more conversation to be had. I think it should be allowed for recreational use if it could be heavily monitored and kept on top of. But then that is a very difficult thing to do, and I understand that completely, and I get that the government would be like, mate, we can't do that.
This lockdown has taught us anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So
they not only cannot stick to the rules, but the government are shit at enforcing them as well. So it's definitely a questionable one that would be looked at. Oh, by the way, any other drug can fuck off. Like, no. No, like anything higher than that, which is everything, no.
Well, it's like an epidemic of those fucking laughing gas things.
What the fuck?
Young kids are doing these days. Like, they don't understand the side effects of it.
I remember when I was back in school, people were like taking aerosol cans and deodorant cans and sucking on them. How is that fun?
Lynx Africa.
Tasty. Like, no. How does that even work?
Sniffing glue.
Yeah, I don't get it. I remember making jokes in school about sniffing glue, and then pretend to pass out. Yeah, like, I don't get it. That kind of shit I don't understand. Marijuana, I kind of get it. It has pain relief stuff, and it can help with mental health, but it can also, it's a seriously bad thing if it's abused. So, I don't know. It's tricky conversation to have.
Very hard to get the balance.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with something as easy to get addicted to as that. Obviously, you can have it in tea, you can eat it in edibles, you can smoke it, whatever your preference may be. I wouldn't advise smoking it. That's going to hurt your lungs. But, yeah, no, I would say don't do it in this country because it's not legal. So, use your brain. But, I can't really say much since I participated. But, yeah, no. Tricky one to discuss and work out the answers for, definitely. So, on that bombshell, I think that is the end.
I think so.
Well, it was a good one. We had a lot of good stuff.
A slightly shorter one, but it's been a slightly
more
lacking of news week.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a rushed one as well. So, again, apologies. This was my idea to do it today since I've got a hell of a day tomorrow, and I've got to spend the rest of today now trying to work out what the fuck we're going to do tomorrow if we are going to do something with everyone, and for Tuesday. I do have a few ideas which we will talk about in a moment. But yes, thank you to everyone who's watched this. I hope you're still enjoying these podcasts. I mean, if you are, great, 10 out of 10. Thank you. And keep letting us know what you're thinking. If there's anything you want us to talk about, as always, put it in the comments.
What are your favourite horror film villains? We want to know.
Yeah, there you go. Now we know if you fuckers have watched it. Watched it all the way through. Tell us your favourite villains. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for watching. Again, thank you to Sean for joining me, especially when it was changed and probably slightly irritating.
Not at all.
But yes, again, thank you to Sean, thank you to everyone who watched, and we will see you in the next one next week, probably, unless we have a week off. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
we will update you all.
Yes, but yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye bye. Look at that. Look at that.